Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, June 12, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to highlight this post that was made here on our Twitter page this morning, highlighting the fact that today is the anniversary of that major flood in June of 1979 that many of your people have spoken about, might have spoken about in the past. Maybe your grandma, your auntie, your mother, whoever. It states here, today in flood history, 46 years ago, on June 12, 1979, torrential rains from Tropical Depression Number 1 triggered catastrophic flooding across western Jamaica, submerging Newmarket for months. The flooding killed over 40 people and left nearly 40,000 homeless. Damages reached 27 million US dollars at the time, equivalent to about 114.5 million US dollars in 2025. Have you ever heard of this flood event? And it was all over the Jamaica Gleaner back then, but here's the satellite view of that date, June 12, 1979, and we see all of the clouds, showers, and thunderstorms on that date, especially across western Jamaica for sure, engulfing the entire island. But as you can see here, the tropical depression was definitely offshore, but we know these things go. Usually the right side of the system has the strongest winds and the heaviest rainfall, and although it formulated here to the southwest of us, push northeastward, definitely coming closer. And look at the gaps between the days, so it definitely was a slow mover, and then as soon as it was ready to cross over into Cuba, it started to gain speed, and then it accelerated into the United States. But definitely brought a lot of flooding, a lot of damage. Imagine being submerged underwater, a town being submerged underwater for months. That's crazy, just to show the amount of rainfall that took place on that day. And we definitely have some of the comments here from some of our subscribers and some of our followers who actually heard of this flood event. We have one right here from North Goya stating yes, they heard of that event. Also on our YouTube page we had Nadine and Nicola Ellis stating yes, my grandmother always spoke about June flood in Newmarket. I was a toddler when it happened. We have Manhurter stating never heard of this. I didn't know somewhere could stay flooded for over a couple weeks. Yes, it can definitely happen. We have Deborah choose none 9921 stating oh yes, I remember. God is good. Time have gone by so quickly. We also have on our Instagram page Shorday_ is stating yeah, I've heard about this. My grandmother, well, my mother refers to it as June flood. Nubia_Leo Queen stating yeah, my dad told me stories of the June flooding. And we also have Reed Ramona stating I've never heard of it. I'm going to have to look it up now. Well, I'm glad that you guys know about this June flood now. It was just a tropical depression, but just to show that we don't need a tropical storm or a hurricane to cause damage. These slow moving systems can definitely cause some tremendous flooding. Boy, we hope we don't get any of that this year, because boy, Jamaica can't take the flooding. Just a couple hours or less than an hour of rainfall can definitely cause some crazy flooding in some people's spots. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look that just came out at 7:19 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:19 p.m. Jamaica time. Tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. And we know that if we get something, the first name on the list is going to be Andrea, followed by Barry. But we're still taking a look at the eastern Pacific side of things, where we now have potential tropical cyclone 4E. And to the east of that, we have an area that has a low chance of possible development within the next 7 days. Taking a look at potential tropical cyclone 4E, all of the cloud showers and thunderstorms are right here associated with the system. We can also see the cloud showers and thunderstorms trying to, get its act together for what's to come next to the east of there. But regarding this system, potential tropical cyclone 4E, it is now packing maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, moving towards the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour. Then it's expected to push northward, becoming a tropical storm. We know the next name on the list is Delilah, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Delilah is the next name on the list. And it's definitely not a tropical storm or a tropical depression yet. It's packing maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. It's not yet a depression. It's not yet a tropical storm, but they definitely want to issue out the advisories for the system, and it's definitely going to be coming in such a close proximity to the Mexican coastline that some of the cloud showers and thunderstorms could definitely affect land. This is why they're shaded on the coastline in the yellows. The yellows, as you can see from the key on the bottom, represents tropical storm watch. So it could come close to cause some significant rainfall, and they've also highlighted a map right here showing the amount of rainfall that could take place across coastal Mexico. We see the light greens that represents 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. That's around 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. You see the dark greens, or the greens itself, that 2 to 4 inches of rainfall range. That's 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. And we also see the yellows. That's 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, or 100 to 150 millimeters. Very interesting. Coastal areas could definitely pick up some isolated flash flooding for sure. So we just hope that the people who reside in those areas are taking necessary precautions so that they're not that drastically affected. But regarding the other system that is to the east of that potential tropical cyclone, let us read what the Hurricane Center stated in their latest update. An area of low pressure is forecast to develop late this weekend or early next week near the coast of Central America. Environmental conditions appear conducive for some gradual development of the system as it moves west-northwestward near the coast of Central America and southern Mexico. And we see that they've given the system a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we know the next name on the list after Delilah, once potential tropical cyclone number 4E acquires that name, the next name for that possible code yellow could be Eric. Alright, so we need to switch gears and focus our attention on the the western Pacific side of things. For reference, we have Japan over here. We have, I believe, North and South Korea right here to the west of Japan. China right here. Taiwan right in here. The Philippines down in here. And mainly China, Vietnam, all of these countries down in here. And we have something definitely spinning. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity down in here. If we take a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, this is basically the equivalent of the National Hurricane Center here in Miami, Florida, over on our side of the world. And they're stating that they have something out there. This is Tropical Storm. It looks to be Tropical Storm. What is that? Is that a name? I can't even make it out. Tropical Storm 01W. Either way, we can see it right here. To the south of China, it's expected to push towards the northwest, then curve towards the northeast, maintaining tropical storm status. As we can see, the intensity with the 55, 50 knots for sure. So it could definitely cause some amount of flash flooding. We know these tropical storms can be very interesting as it pushes its way into China. If you have friends or relatives over there, let them know, because boy, trust me, when China is ready to flood, it's ridiculous. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with these easterly trade winds, we have some tropical waves, one right here, east of Jamaica, another one right here, to the east of the Caribbean, another one right here, to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And they're pushing along from east to west in that easterly trade wind for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out some of these entities. First of all, we're seeing some moisture pushing through the central Caribbean waters from, let's say, east, south, east, west, northwest. We're then likely associated with that tropical wave. You can see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave to the east of the Caribbean, more so especially on the southern side of that tropical wave near Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Venezuela. While we have that other tropical wave somewhere in here according to the surface map, but clearly we're seeing that most of the moisture to the south associated with the intertropical convergence zone. We can also make out the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north, and we can make out the upper level wind shear pushing those high cirrus clouds off towards the northeast across the eastern Caribbean into the open waters of the Atlantic. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean with later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, June 12, 2025. It does state that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Thursday morning, also affecting sections of some northern and western parishes during Thursday afternoon. And we know eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening? At around 8:23 a.m., the Guantanamo Bay, Cuba U.S. Navy Doppler radar imagery was posted, and it highlighted some rainfall coming into portions of St. Thomas, Portland, even spilling into sections of St. Mary for sure. Some decent light to moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall for sure. Definitely confirming here with this post that was made here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica. The post was also made on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So that imagery confirms the rainfall that was predicted for the morning. Then for the afternoon, the visible satellite images were posted at around 2:15 p.m. at that, highlighting some clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, a section of St. Thomas, Portland, section of northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, section of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, definitely gotten on some of the action, even section of northern Manchester too. And look at the amount of sparkling yellow dots in there that will represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. They definitely got nailed out there this afternoon. And the infrared close-up satellite image that was posted finally at around 3:25 p.m. confirms the thunderstorm activity. We see the blues into the greens, into the yellows, oranges, reds, and blacks that represent that cumulonimbus cloud activity being sheared off towards the east northeast by that upper level wind shear. But clearly the brunt of the thunderstorm activity was out west at that time. Wherever we have the thunderstorms, that's where we're getting the most weather. That's where we're getting the rainfall. Definitely across section of Hanover, Westmoreland at that time for sure. Crazy bad weather out there. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost sunlight, we can definitely make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, if not east southeast to west northwest. Then we had all of those clouds building, especially across sections of some northern and western parishes for sure. Then those cloud tops are being sheared off towards the east by that upper level wind shear, or the east northeast by that upper level wind shear. We can see it all even better on the infrared right here, and we can also see the clouds dying out as we head into the evening hours for sure, losing all of that intensity, all of the deep convection pushing from east west across section of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland to confirm that they did indeed get in on some of that thunderstorm activity. And I'm pretty sure that the tropical wave had a lot to do with it for sure. But according to the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel at around 11:17 a.m., the Bagua Gorge cam not showing much of anything, people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely dry times around here these days. Nothing in lieu of bad weather taking place at all. Real Cobra definitely chilling with its greenish look. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming that rainfall that took place across the island today, eastern and northern parishes during the morning. I definitely got my fair share of some light rainfall this morning as well as this afternoon when I was on my way home. Then we see the rainfall that took place across sections of some more so northern and western parishes for sure, maybe some northern portion of some southern parishes as well. And we have some comments right here from some of our subscribers as well as some of our followers about what the weather was like in their area today. We have Randall Green stating, "Good evening, weather Jamaica. Get some rain in Brownstown today. Cloudy skies now. Active 4081. Sunny day in Clarendon, weather Jamaica. As expected, it was predicted for more so eastern, northern, and western parishes, not southern parishes at all." We have one Ryan that underscore stating, "Heavy rain with wind in my era in Hanover." Boy, Ryan, you're getting everything. At this point, send us some video clips, boss. You're getting all of the rain. Everybody crying for rain. You're getting rain even when there's barely even anything affecting us. But as expected, the tropical wave have brought some significant weather, and we saw the energy push from east to west across the island, and then we had that huge burst. We also have Sapphire Willie underscore March underscore 29N stating, "Heavy rain and very windy in Mo Bay." On our Facebook page, we had comments from, we had a comment from Anisha Trail stating, "Hot like fire in Spanish Town." Georgia Williamson, "How come no rain no come up Portmore? Boy, I feel your pain." We have Tony Dandelion stating, "Dying from this heat on Portmore." Tanya Thurlow, "Hot as hell." Latoya Taylor, "Sunat and windy in St. Elizabeth." And then we have Jamaican Kid posting on Twitter stating, "Just above Cornwall College in Mobay, we had them sending us what looks like a GIF or a GIF showing some decent rainfall around there. They even sent a video right here. Just some looks to be moderate rainfall, not some slightly heavy rainfall. Yeah, some decent rainfall for sure. Alright, let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing 23:35 UTC, which is actually 6:35 p.m. So this just came out 13 minutes ago, considering that 6:48 p.m. right now. And as you can see, most of the clouds are dying down based on what took place across the northwest today. Still have some leftover clouds and the blues and the greens out there though. We also see some whitish shades that represent some high cirrus clouds across the rest of the island. Regarding the Doppler radar imagery, let us read out the latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy Doppler radar, as well as the latest Cayman Doppler radar. Let us see. Alright, so it seems like the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out at around 3:30 p.m. today. That's around 2:30 p.m. Jamaica time. At that time, we saw that we're getting in some rainfall across section of St. Thomas, definitely confirming the rainfall that I got. We're also seeing that rainfall that took place across section of the west. We're talking about St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland, some moderate to heavy rainfall at that. Greens, Moderado, Yellows, Fuerte are stronger heavy rainfall. Regarding the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, not seeing much of anything across the far eastern end of Cuba, but we do see some rain bands right here to the west of Guantanamo. We see some rainfall right here to the west of Haiti. Not seeing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica at all. But regarding the Cayman radar showing some of that rainfall that took place across section of southern Cuba. Well, central Cuba that pushed to southern Cuba. We're also seeing some of that rainfall that took place across western Jamaica, pushing off to the west, pushing right here from east to west to the south of the Cayman Islands, right there. And regarding the live camera right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, you can clearly see that the Devon House camera at the stoplight definitely showing people are going about their business in their vehicles. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. Definitely fair conditions taking place at this time, and that should be the order of the evening. Taking a look at the temperature forecast right now, well, the temperatures right now, 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. And we're loving that we're seeing more grays, if not some slight blues, across much of the basin. That's what we want to see, but clearly Jamaica is just embedded in grays and light yellows. That represents average to slightly above average temperatures. We know the average temperature for the month of June across Jamaica is close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.2 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 32.2 to 33.3 degrees, 33.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way. On Friday, June 13, yes, Friday the 13th, we're referring to the Bonnet Devil's Race Course in Middlesex on the parish of St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eltham to Seabourn Garden in St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Wint Road as well as Olympic Way in the parish of Kingston from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Freehill Crescent District to Ramble in the parish of St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mines in the parish of St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sections of Sheffield, Spring Garden, Silver Spring, Ketto, Springfield and environs, all in the parish of Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Westgate to Fairfield, all in the parish of St. James from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, we have sections of Amos, Northampton, Southampton, Buena Vista Mountain and environs. Oh, it's Buena Vista Mountain and environs, all in the parish of St. Elizabeth from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, they'll see that we have a lot of moist air across the Gulf, into the Caribbean, even into the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. A lot of stable dry air in the yellows, oranges and reds across the northeastern portions of the Atlantic. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, heading into the 13th and the 14th as well as the 15th, we're going to be still seeing those slight Saharan dust plumes passing through in the oranges and the greens, definitely dying down as we head into Saturday and Sunday. We don't have that vigorous plume at all like what we had a week or so ago, and we're grateful for that. We don't want the Saharan dust at all, so we're glad that it's dwindling. We're glad that it's not really doing much right now. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the highest waves are to the south of Jamaica and Hispaniola, and the purples and the pinks, that's the 2 to 2.5 meter wave height, and that's because of the strong winds down there. That's the 20 to 25 knot winds from the east. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast, on the north coast to the north of St. Anne, 1.2 meter wave height, south of Clarendon, 1.6 meter wave height, highest wave heights as usual to the south of St. Thomas, 1.8 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected more of a strong easterly flow, and we see the mixture of the greens and the yellows as 20 to 25 knots. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up, especially across sections of some western parishes, and whatever comes off of the sea could bring some rainfall to the east. And if we actually get that air to pile up across sections of the west or even the north, could definitely make those low level clouds become mid level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. And if they get up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, upper level wind shear from the west, if not the west southwest, should tear those thunderstorms off towards the east northeast once again, just like what we had today. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, we didn't see the forecast for the morning, but we are seeing the forecast for the afternoon, and clearly at around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. Both maps are showing rainfall not only across the far western end, Hanover and Westmoreland, on the Euro and the GFS right here, especially the Euro, hitting up into the dark blues and greens territory, especially across Westmoreland, maybe even northern St. Elizabeth. But even the far eastern end, maybe a section of eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland, getting on some of the blues that represent rainfall. We'll see how that plays out. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing the rainfall out east and out west tomorrow. The Euro a bit more robust than the GFS. Euro going up to at least, maybe up to an inch of rainfall in the red. GFS a bit more reserved, maybe up to 0.5, maybe 0.4 of an inch of rainfall out in the east and west. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of June, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right at the top, we usually receive close to 110 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we usually receive around 6.5 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to see what your specific parish usually receives for the month of June, or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we just looked at what's expected for Friday. So let us see what's expected for Saturday. So looking at 12Z on both the Euro and the GFS, we know that 12Z is around 7 a.m. We can see that rainfall right here to the south of Jamaica, to the south of Hispaniola, to the west of Jamaica. A lot of rain in the dark greens and the yellows, representing what we see here on the key. That's the 1 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. And then as we head into Saturday afternoon, eastern, central, western parishes, that rainfall. Sunday morning, what do we see? Still having that rainfall, especially to the south of us, maybe affecting the far eastern end. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. Let us see what Monday morning is showing. Most of that seems to be pushing out to the west, maybe some isolated shores still out east. Monday afternoon, not really much of anything. Let's see what Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is showing us on the GFS. Not really much of anything on Saturday morning on the GFS. Saturday afternoon, however, we see that rainfall across the eastern and the western ends. Sunday morning, maybe some rainfall across the far eastern end, especially to the south of us. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Monday morning, rainfall across the south and the east. Monday afternoon, rainfall across the far eastern and western ends. Very interesting. Let's see what Tuesday morning is showing. Not really much of anything, but we do see a trail of moisture extending from the Windward Islands into the Western Caribbean. And then on Tuesday afternoon, we see that rainfall across the western end. Wednesday morning, what do we see? Rainfall to the south of Hispaniola. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the eastern and the central portion of the island. We're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Thursday, June 19. Not seeing much of anything across Jamaica, but we're still seeing that moisture across the southwestern portions of the Gulf. Just like what Andy Hazelton pointed out in our video from yesterday. Could we be getting Andrea out there? The Eastern Caribbean getting in some moisture too. Maybe some tropical waves. What does the GFS show? First of all, Tuesday morning, a lot of moisture right here near Central America. Tuesday afternoon, look at that, pushing from the southeast into the northwest, maybe into Belize. Then Wednesday morning, sinking that moisture into Belize for sure. Wednesday afternoon, look at that rainfall across the western end, the eastern end, also putting most of that moisture into the southwestern Gulf, just like what the Euro was showing. So could we be having something develop? My bet is on a code yellow coming up on the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook for tomorrow. So look out for that. Definitely going to be seeing a code yellow, if not somewhere across this era. It's going to be out here tomorrow for sure. Look out for it. I called it first. You'll see it happen. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast, both maps from the year and the GFS still showing the most rainfall, the 2 to 5 inches of rainfall in the purples, reds, and dark reds and the pinks across northern South America into Central America. well, at least up to an inch of rainfall for the Eastern Caribbean and the Greater Antilles. And regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 24 hours, we can clearly see that the eastern end is still going to be getting the brunt of the rainfall. The Euro going up to 88 millimeters of rainfall, the GFS going up to at least 72 millimeters of rainfall. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. Alright, so as stated, we have some low level to mid level clouds pushing through the Caribbean with some moisture. The usual thunderstorm activity across Northern South America and Central America. Regarding the Doppler radar images in and around Puerto Rico, however, we can clearly see not really much of anything affecting Puerto Rico right now. Loading these images from earlier today though, we can clearly see that not really much happened at all. Regarding the Barbados radar, most of the rainfall is right here to the south of Barbados. Some hit or miss isolated sprinkles coming into sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The brunt of the rainfall is affecting portion of Trinidad and Tobago though. Some light to moderate to heavy rainfall that could trigger some amount of isolated flash flooding. We're also seeing a nice southeasterly flow bringing some rainfall into Florida, section of Cuba, section of the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, section of northwestern Honduras. We're also seeing some rainfall to the north of the ABC Islands, Colombia, Venezuela, section of Guyana, Suriname. And regarding the next 24 hours, you can clearly see that the most rainfall should be right here across northern South America into Central America. So too section of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent, and the ABC Islands. Section of the Greater Antilles including Florida, Cuba, Hispaniola, and we can clearly see some into the ABC Islands too. I know that when both maps from the year and the GFS are adamant like this, we know that the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.